And we're live.
Jeff Bezos, no, Bill Gates got divorced, right? It's come out that apparently he's been fucking everything he can. Yeah, like
Good for him.
Like
Good for him.
It's not like he had an affair. It's like, oh yeah, huge womanizer, huge. You know, he's been fucking, and I'm like, Bill Gates, okay.
You know, and I've thought this for years. I remember, like, because his fortune is like swollen and like sort of dwaned over the years. Like I remember at one point he's like, oh yeah, richest man in the world at 40 billion. That's years and years ago now. But then it was like, oh, only the third richest man. And it's like, yeah, but didn't he give like $30 billion to like AIDS patients or Africa in general or something like that?
I think you're mistaken about that.
It just gave it to Africa.
It's like he's the richest man in the world at 40 billion. Then he's third richest with 68 billion. Like, it's been doing great.
Yeah, like up and down, like he's always the richest man, one of the richest men in the world, and it's always down. Tens of billions. I felt like it went down. I thought he gave away like a substantial portion of his money at one point.
It's 126 billion right now.
Yeah. In any case, I always thought like, man, what a waste of the richest man in the world. Like I was like, why does it have to be that the richest man in the world is a fucking nerdy philanthropist who wants to like be a do-gooder? Why can't why can't it be like fucking, I don't know, Nicolas Cage? Why can't Nicolas Cage be worth $100 billion? It'd be so fun to watch him like just do crazy shit. You know,
any of the four of us would be way more fun billionaires to watch.
Remember when that Notch guy was?
Can you imagine how much I would ruin this country if I had $100 billion?
Big time. The world.
I would cause such problems.
It went down, but it was the .com bust, not the not giving it away.
I remember when that was it Notch that made Minecraft and like created it.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember when that guy was like, "Oh yeah, it's just, you know, I'm kind of sad and lonely, and I just don't have any fun." And it's like, you know, when you're worth tens of millions of dollars, it's really not all that cool after all. And I was just like, dude needs to hire me for about $800K a year to be his fun manager.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't know how to fucking have fun. Like, are you kidding me?
I remember that bit. We had such great ideas for him. There's a million ways to have fun with. There's a billion ways to have fun.
I remember during that bit. Danny, you want to go?
I'm just saying. Imagine the first month after $100 billion hit your account. The lack of sobriety, the amount of bribery and near arrests,
prostitution,
hooker corpses. Yes, absolutely.
I would try and like buy Madagascar or something. Or no, we figured out that Madagascar actually has like 40 million people that live there. So somewhere else.
That was the funny thing about Bezos. So Taylor has said that if he was a multi-billionaire, he would buy all the NHL teams, put the good players in St. Louis, and just butt fuck everybody all the time.
It'd be awesome.
Cool. Jeff Bezos bought The Apprentice. And I'm like, that's a Taylor level fuckery. I kind of like that.
Yeah.
Apparently it was worth like $4 billion, and he paid $9 billion for it because he wanted it. So fuck
for MGM.
For MGM, yeah. Like he paid double what it's worth because he wanted it.
He wants it so bad. So I don't know if is Jeff Bezos. He wouldn't be the host of the new Apprentice, would he? Is that what he's
not
trying
the
to say?
host?
No.
He just owns the rights to that.
He wants that. He wants the dirt on Donald Trump because he fucking hates him.
Oh well, yeah, I know he hates him. The Washington Post has always ripped on him for the last 5 years. But like. Yeah. I thought that maybe Jeff Bezos was doing this because he wanted to be like obviously you get that stuff, but then also to be like, I'm going to be the new billionaire man. Because I mean, obviously he's literally 33 times more successful.
So everybody's talking about how he bought The Apprentice because he hates him, but I have to imagine he bought MGM because he owns Amazon Prime too, and it makes sense.
Sure.
You know, for them to have that.
Oh,
content.
of course.
He's a smart guy. He wouldn't spend $9 billion on spite. It's because it's a good business move.
Yeah. It's got to be both.
I respect both decisions. Like I don't care why I'm happy with it. If I own, what does he have? 130 billion, 160 billion, something like that.
I thought it was like 100.
At this point, he got that divorce.
Good for him.
190 billion. Yeah. So if he dropped 9 billion on MGM and now he's down to 100 and. Well, I guess he's still worth 190 billion. He just exchanged cash for MGM.
I think I buy a chain of whorehouses. Like you don't just buy prostitutes. You don't just pay prostitutes. You just buy a chain of them, right?
You'd have a concubine. Does concubine mean one person? Maybe I don't know what it means.
A concubine is a single person. You're talking about a harem.
Yeah, I am. Nice. You need a harem. Complete with like the whole Saudi prince decorating scheme.
Yeah, the big poofy cushions and the silk curtains and stuff, and all the
round couch bed.
Some of that weird face jewelry they're always wearing.
No, I would
give them like Xerxes from 300 with the chain from the ear to the nose.
They need symbols on their fingers, whatever they're called.
No, I would keep them tied by a rope in a stable, and they'd have to shit in the hay. Just because
I read a porno like that. Yeah.
The only interesting thing I learned about in my Middle Eastern, when I was at UCLA, I would go on this website called Bruin Walk, and you just find the easiest professors. That was the only criteria that mattered for me. Just the minimal amount of input for still completing a class and getting my credits. I would take shit like 1400 Middle Eastern history, like the 1500s, learn about the wars between the Ottomans and the Habsburgs. The only thing I retained was about the people who kept these harems. The guy who was in charge of a harem in the Middle Eastern and the Ottoman world, which those are the Mac daddies of harems. That's where this term came from. Yep. There's something called chief black eunuchs. And they would take black guys, because back then the theory was that women are less attracted to black men. How wrong they were. And they would slice off these dudes' dicks too, because it wasn't just enough that they were black. They needed to be cockless. And then they would give these guys like a cattle prod or something and just let them into the harem. And those guys would be basically just the male madam of all the whores. They would keep the whores in lines, these black dudes with no cocks.
Dude, like the Arab slave trade from Africa, like they had an enormous slave trade, even bigger than the slave trade from Africa to the U.S. Way bigger. Because, I mean, obviously, geographically, that's much simpler. There's not a giant ocean. You can walk. And, then you might wonder, well, there's all these black people in the U.S. today. Why are there so few black people in the Middle East? Yeah, because they castrated all their slaves.
Yeah.
Pretty fucking ghoulish.
Yeah. No cock, dude. Chief Kyle,
I didn't know.
Differing opinion on this?
I didn't know.
Seems like maybe they were thinking ahead.
To make sure they have a good someone good to run their brothels, keep their profits up.
Kyle, choose your words carefully.
Oh, I see.
I'm choosing them perfectly right now.
He's,
as always.
Yeah, I don't get it. I'm not following.
That's how subtle it was.
Yeah. Fewer car thefts in Saudi Arabia, Woody.
Well, that's because women can't drive. So there's fewer cars. Probably not fewer cars. I feel like all those princes. Well, I guess the princes don't own enough cars to offset.
There's enough princes to upset the balance of women drivers. How many cars could they have?
And they can only drive
they need millions.
They need millions. Okay, that's one of those sentences you say, and it's
you went to college.
You guys all know this. Where you're on this show, and you're talking to talk, and you get halfway into a sentence, and you're like, "This makes less than no sense. Please, nobody call me out."
Oh yeah, Kyle, let that go. Have you met Kyle? He sits over
here.